So you bought a house and you're living in the house and you've been in the house about 6 months to a year and all of a sudden you have a job change and you have to move. Well, let's talk about what happens if you keep a primary residence for less than 2 years. What might be coming your way? So I'm Casey Jenkins with Oak Realty, and if you keep your primary residence for less than 2 years, so if you sell it 1 year and 364 days, instead of waiting that extra 2 days, you sell it at 364 days, you are going to be in for what's called capital gains tax. And capital gains tax, the way it works is you take what you bought the property for, you add in what you added to the property. So say you did $10,000 worth of work to the house and you have all the receipts, keep the receipts. You add in that, and then you get the number of how much you put into the house, basically. You can take what you sold the property for, subtract that number, and that's what you're gonna pay. Oh, and subtract all of the commissions and the closing costs and things like that, and that's what you're gonna pay capital gains tax on. I can't tell you exactly what the capital gains tax is gonna be. It varies depending on how much you make and what's on your, what's on your tax form and all of that. Your tax accountant can help you with that, but it's not a small amount. It's not a teeny tiny amount. It is a very large amount of that money. Now, if you break even, so say you bought the house and now we're just trying to break even with you of what you owed and what you put on it and all of that, of course you're not gonna own capital gains because you broke even. If you sell your house and you have to bring money to the table, of course you're not gonna own capital gains because you had to bring money to the table. You didn't make a profit on it. But if you sell your house, your primary residence, at less than 2 years of ownership, you will have to pay capital gains, and it will be short-term capital gains, so it will be a lot. So if you are thinking about moving less than 2 years, talk to an agent so we can get you with a tax guy if you don't have one, or a tax gal, and you can talk through what exactly is gonna happen and what does that look like for you. Also, if you're thinking about moving at less than 2 years and you're just moving in town and you can keep the house, well, keep the house and rent it for a little while so you can get past that capital gains and then you can sell the house. There's multiple ways to help you work through the capital gains piece, but I understand life happens and sometimes we gotta move quick. Sometimes we move in and we think we're gonna be here for 5 to 10 to 15 years and all of a sudden a job changes, a sickness happens, something happens and we gotta move and we find ourselves getting out of it. And that's where an agent can go, hey, yes, it appreciated to this, and if it appreciated to the point where you're making some money, we can go, hey, it's time to talk to a tax guy and see what you're gonna pay off of this. And see, is it worth us not just helping you break even on this? Or, is it that it hasn't appreciated enough and you're gonna break even and life will be good and you won't have to worry about capital gains tax? It's for those really that buy a house that needs a lot of work and they bought the house, they moved in, they did the work, and then all of a sudden they've gotta move. Now they're gonna make a good chunk of money and the government's gonna want their cut. So if you keep the house longer than 2 years, so you're 2 years, 1 month and on, you don't own a tax. You don't owe a tax. Capital gain, long-term capital gains on houses went away a long time ago. You do not have to take all of that money and put it straight into the next house. You can just put a chunk of that money. Granted that you make under the threshold, which is walking away your gross out of the house is less than $500,000 for a married couple and less than $250,000 for a single person, and that's the numbers as of 2025. So if you make less than that, so the check that the lawyer gave you minus what you paid for it is less than that, you're good to go. But if it's more than that, yes, you're gonna get hit with some capital gains tax. But the average person in the average house, if you only stay in it for 7 to 10 years, you're not gonna get hit with capital gains, and you no longer have to put it all back into a house like you used to years and years and years ago, which is how my grandparents got a ginormous house up in the Poconos, because they had to do that. So if you've got more questions about capital gains, if you've got more questions about making a move quickly or anything like that, give us a call. If you don't have a tax person, we can get you hooked up with a tax person that can answer all of your questions, because I am not a tax person. I'm a real estate agent. I know enough to be dangerous about this stuff. I know enough to know what I'm talking about, but I can't speak to your individual situation, which is why we'd get you with a tax person. So give us a call, shoot us a text if you got more questions. Otherwise, don't forget to like and subscribe.